All right, so last video I put out a video of what I think are the top SHTF guns. Now, I wanted to put out a video on how much ammo I think you should have on hand at all times. Now, again, this isn't necessarily SHTF. I mean, this is more of a Canadian-oriented channel, and that, it wouldn't surprise anyone if they just outright banned 223, 5.56 ammo, right? Would that surprise anyone? Same goes for 7.62 by 39. I mean, they could ban match bullets, claiming, oh, you're going to use them, as it's a sniper rifle, right? So um, there's more than just the SHTF reasoning behind it. Not to mention, dude, what if the price skyrockets for whatever reason, right? Let's say Russia stops producing ammo, right? Let's say they stop importing, right? Like, look at how much 7.62 by 39 would go up if that happened, right? So now, again, someone may come in and fill the void, but it would take a while, and it may not happen, right? So there's more reasons than just as SHTF to stock up on ammo. But anyway, getting right into it, this is my minimum amount that I would know. Ideally, to be quite honest, I would probably want double. I would be very comfortable with for all of these, but this is my minimum. Um, so again, to start out would be your semi-auto rifle, whatever it is, SKS, AR. I mean, again, most of them are banned in Canada, but there's still a handful ones out there that utilize the AR, Stanag type magazines. Um, so again, I have 2,000 rounds. Now again, the opinions on this are going to vary mightily. There's going to be guys that say 10, 20,000. Anything less than that is rookie numbers. There's guys that are going to say, oh well, you can only carry 200 or 300 on you at a time, right? It doesn't make sense to have any more. Now, again, when you hear those arguments, usually the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Which is part of the reason why I landed on this number. And again, what is the reality? Again, yeah, you can only carry two, three, maybe four, upwards at most, maybe 500 on you at a time. Um, Again, it's going to start to get very heavy. And again, if they're in magazines, it's going to be more heavy yet, and it's going to take up a lot of space. So again, obviously, yeah, you can only carry a certain amount on at a time. But on the flip side, another thing no one's talking about is in an SHTF situation, ammo will be worth insane amounts of, again, probably not money, may not be what we're using, but worth crazy amounts, right? So, in my opinion, stocking up on ammo is never a bad decision. I mean, look at the prices, right? Like when I first got into shooting, just about 10 years ago, I mean, 223, 556, you're looking at maybe 25, 30 cents a shot for regular FMJ. Now that's at least 50 cents. You're looking at probably more realistic 60, 65 cents is what you're actually looking at now. Um, I don't even remember what 7.62 by 39 is to be exact, but it was quite a bit. Not as much because it's still actually moderately cheap. I mean, if you look at match ammo, I mean, you could find high quality 308 match ammo for, and I remember this because that was the first bolt gun I got, like 30 bucks a pop, like 30 bucks a pop, literally. Now it's 45 to 50, maybe a tiny bit less, but you're still looking at like mid 40s. If you can find it, you're that's a screaming good deal. So again, the price is almost doubled for that. Same goes for 22. I remember being able to get a box of Federal Champion for about 20 bucks a pack. Now that ammo's 40 roughly. Maybe you can find a 500 round box for 35 if you're really lucky. So again, the price has gone way up. So anyway, bolt action rifle, whatever it is, for some people it's going to be a hunting rifle. Some people it's going to be a dedicated, target rifle. In my mind, 500 rounds, again, that's actually going to be really expensive. But again, that's another thing that's going to be important because it will serve multi uses. And again, like the more the better with all these numbers, but there's going to be some to where it's going to become really expensive to stock up a lot more. 22, I got 5,000. Again, 22 is still moderately cheap in the whole scheme of things. But one of the big benefits of 22 is you can carry 500 to 1,000 rounds on you and barely even notice it, right? Like 500 rounds weighs what? Maybe 5 pounds, maybe 10 pounds. I don't even know what it is, but it's very light, right? So that is one of the benefits of a 22 is you can carry a lot of ammo on you and it still be very light and doesn't take up a lot of space. 12 gauge, 500 rounds. I would say you'd want it in probably about half of it being buckshot, the rest spread between slugs, two shot BB, and maybe a little bit of bird shot. Handgun, again, is something that's restricted in Canada, so they're not nearly as prevalent. But I still think that a couple thousand, even 1,000 rounds. That's when I may have overestimated a little bit, to be honest. But again, ammo would be worth its weight in gold. And prices are only going up. Like, to be quite honest, it's not a terrible investment to invest in guns and ammo, right? Because if you, especially the common calibers, right, the prices are only going up, right? Like, demand is going up at such a high rate that you just can't keep up, right? And with regulations continuing to get worse, I don't see that getting better anytime soon. Like, does anyone realistic? I mean, I wish it would happen, but does anyone realistically see prices going down anything significant, especially in the long run? So, um, again, these are my numbers. Again, I'd love to hear people's thoughts about it in the comments. Personally, again, these are my minimums that I don't have all of these. I mean, I do have most of them again, but that's what I would like to have, right? Simply, and this is the other thing too for people. Like, if you really want to play it as safe as humanly possible, ask yourself, okay, if purchases of new ammo was banned tomorrow, do I have enough? Right? Like, and there's some guys to where, I would literally need 100,000 rounds. But again, obviously, if production of new ammo was banned tomorrow, or a realistic SHTF situation happened, you would cut down the amount you're shooting, right? Especially for some of these guys that shoot a lot, right? So that's another thing people need to keep in mind. They're like, oh, I shoot 1,000 rounds a year. I'm going to be around for another 50 years. That means I need 50,000 rounds. It's like, well, not necessarily, right? You're not going to shoot as much down the road. And not to mention, too, if you only, like, this is another thing, too, like, if you only have one gun, you're not going to be able to put 50,000 rounds through it, at least most likely, right? So that's another thing people need to consider. It's like, if you want to have a crazy amount of ammo, you need to make sure that you have more than one gun, or at the very least, you have replacement parts. Because if you don't have replacement parts, you're not going to be able to put 20, 30, 40, 50,000 rounds through your SKS or whatever other semi-automatic gun you have, right? So that's another thing people need to keep in mind too, is that if you're one of these, I think that you need at least 10, 20,000 rounds kind of guys. You also need to make sure you have extra parts, or you have multiple guns, or both, ideally both. Um, and that's the other thing too. A lot of these guns, it's hard to get spare parts, right? So, and if it is, it's expensive, right? So, there's a lot of aspects to consider here. But and the other thing too, if you're someone who has barely any right now, like, there's no need to panic too. I think that's a terrible idea too. When people panic buy, just buy a little bit more than you need. That's all you need to do. If you shoot 100 rounds a month, buy 120, right? Just buy, a little bit extra that way. Because if you're going to be like, oh yeah, I shoot 100 a month, I'm going to start buying 200 a month. Well then, and if everybody does that, well then, yeah, prices are going to go up, demand's going to go way up. So, I think people need to, just buy a little bit more. Not that hard. If there's a sale or something too, yeah, maybe it's not a bad idea to buy an extra 1,000 rounds or whatever. But I think a big mistake people make is panic buying, right? That you have whatever it is, some mass shooting, or in Canada, the government, we're going to ban this, we're going to ban that. Don't panic buy. Don't pay outrageous amounts for ammo, for guns, whatever it is, because you're not really fixing the situation by doing that kind of stuff. So anyway, like I say, this is my opinion on it. Again, I'd love to hear other people's opinion on it. And again, other people too, it may differ too. On you, you may not like to shoot bolt action or 22, and that's not something that's going to be as relevant for you. But anyway, like I say, love to hear people's thoughts. So. Uh, Give me a subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like, and like I say, love to hear the comments. So anyway, stay tuned for more.